My name is Natalie Mercer. I'm 33 years old. And until New Year's Eve, I believe love was something you protected quietly, through patience, compromise, and loyalty. I didn't know that some people mistake that for permission. We'd been together for 3 years, engaged for 9 months, long enough to build routines, long enough to plan a future, long enough for me to believe that what we had was real. Evan Caldwell, my boyfriend, my fiancé, the man I thought I would marry, used to say we were solid, not dramatic, not messy, just dependable. We met the way so many relationships do, through mutual friends at a concert where everyone pretended they weren't checking their phones between songs. He was charming without trying, confident but not loud, the kind of man who made people feel chosen just by paying attention. I fell for that. I said yes when he proposed last March, right there in the restaurant where we'd had our first date. He slid the ring onto my finger, my grandmother's ring, 3 generations old, and kissed me like the world hadn't already started shifting under our feet. The wedding was set for May, deposits paid, venue booked, photographer chosen. His parents insisted on covering most of it. Traditional family, big gestures, big expectations. I thought we were building something together. But around October, something changed. At first, it was small, a pause before responding to my texts, a sigh when I talked about work, corrections disguised as jokes. I'd cook dinner, and he'd point out what I should have done differently. I'd plan a date, and he'd mention somewhere better we could have gone. Then the word more entered the conversation. I just want more out of life, he'd say. More excitement, more ambition, more drive. I asked what that meant. He never really answered. That's when Lena entered the story, his ex-girlfriend from the gym. At first, she was just a name. Someone I work out with. Really successful. Built her own business. He mentioned her casually, too casually. Then the gym became a daily ritual, 5 days a week, then 6. He came home energized in a way he hadn't been with me in months. I asked him once, directly, "Are you interested in her?" He laughed, told me I was paranoid, said I didn't trust him. So I swallowed my instincts and told myself I was imagining things. 2 weeks before New Year's, his parents invited us to their annual party. Formal, traditional, champagne at midnight. The drive there was quiet. "I need to talk to my family tonight," Evan said. "About what?" "I'll explain later." He never did. The house was decorated like always. String lights, catered appetizers, laughter echoing off the walls. Everyone kept asking about the wedding. "You two are perfect together," his mother said. I smiled. I didn't feel perfect. I felt like something was cracking beneath the surface and I didn't know how to stop it. At 11:30, his father gathered everyone in the living room for the toast. He talked about family, new beginnings, the wedding in May. Everyone raised their glasses. Everyone except Evan. He stared at the floor. Then he looked up and said the sentence that split my life cleanly in two. "My New Year's gift to myself," he announced, voice steady, "is a separation." Silence swallowed the room. Every eye turned to me. I finished my champagne in one swallow, set the glass down carefully, and stood there as the reality settled into my bones. "Congratulations," I said softly. And then I stepped outside and made one quiet call. Everything changed after that. The cold hit me the moment I stepped into the backyard. December air, sharp, unforgiving. The kind that burns your lungs just enough to remind you you're still alive, even when everything else feels numb. Inside, I could hear the countdown starting early, someone laughing too loudly, glasses clinking, the sound of a life continuing without my consent. I stood there with my phone in my hand, fingers steady in a way that surprised even me. I called my sister. She picked up on the second ring. "Happy almost New Year," she said. "I need you to do something for me," I replied. No greeting, no preamble. There was a pause. "Okay, what's wrong?" He just announced a separation at his parents' party, in front of everyone. "What?" Her voice sharpened instantly. "Natalie, are you serious?" I wish I weren't. Silence. Then, "Tell me what you need." "Remember those documents I had you hold on to? The financial paperwork? The prenup drafts?" "Yes." "I need you to contact the lawyer first thing after the holiday, and I need the joint accounts frozen." She didn't hesitate, not even a second. "Done," she said. "Anything else?" "I want to protect what's mine. He blindsided me emotionally. I'm not letting him do it financially, too." "You're doing the right thing," she said, firm. "I'll handle it." I thanked her, hung up, and stood there while the countdown reached its final numbers. 10, 9, 8. Inside, people cheered. 7, 6, 5. I felt oddly calm, like something in me had finally clicked into place. 4, 3, 2. This wasn't shock anymore. This was clarity. 1. Fireworks erupted somewhere in the distance. Applause, cheers, new year, new beginnings. I walked back inside. Evan was hugging his mother. His father was pouring champagne like nothing had just detonated in the middle of the room. His sister wouldn't look at me. I went straight to the coat closet and pulled on my jacket. "Where are you going?" Evan asked, finally noticing me. "Home. You are home," he said automatically. I met his eyes for the first time since the announcement. "I'll be out by the weekend. You don't have to leave tonight." "Yes," I said, calm as glass. "I do." "This isn't fair." "None of this is fair," I almost said. Instead, I just nodded. "Enjoy your separation," I told him. "I hope it gives you everything you're looking for." I walked out without waiting for a response. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch in our apartment, his and mine, but already neither, and watched the sky lighten through the windows. At sunrise, I started making lists. What was mine? What was his? What we bought together? What I was willing to walk away from? 3 years of a life reduced to columns and bullet points. At 8 a.m., my sister called. "The lawyer opens at 9, she said. "I'll meet you there." The lawyer was someone I'd consulted quietly before we got engaged. Back when I'd suggested a prenup and Evan had reacted like I'd accused him of planning to betray me. "If you trust me, why would you need that?" he'd said. So I dropped it, but I'd kept the paperwork. The lawyer reviewed everything with clinical efficiency. "You're not married," she said. "That makes things simpler, but you have joint accounts, shared assets, and a joint lease. I recommend freezing everything until you both agree on a split." "Do it," I said. "When do you want to tell him?" "He'll figure it out." By noon, the accounts were locked. By 2, I was packing. Clothes first, then books, electronics, personal items, the things I'd brought into the relationship, the things that still felt like me. 14 boxes, 3 years. At 6 p.m., Evan came home. He stopped in the doorway of the bedroom, watching me tape a box shut. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Packing." "I didn't mean you had to leave immediately." "You announced a separation," I said without looking at him. "I'm respecting that. Can we talk?" "What's there to talk about?" He sat on the edge of the bed. "I know I handled it badly." "Badly doesn't cover it." "I was nervous," he said. "Having my family there felt easier." "Easier for who?" He didn't answer. I stopped packing and turned to face him. "What do you actually want, Evan?" He hesitated. "I just need space." Space to do what? "To think, to figure things out." I nodded slowly. "So you want the freedom to explore other options," I said, "while keeping me as a safety net." "That's not fair." "Then explain it to me." He didn't. The silence told me everything. I went back to packing. "You want more?" I said quietly. "Go get it. Just don't expect me to wait around while you decide whether I'm enough." He watched me for another hour. Didn't help, didn't argue, just sat there realizing, too late, that something irreversible was happening. When I stacked the boxes by the door, he finally spoke again. "Where are you going?" "My sister's, for now." "What about the apartment?" "I'll talk to the landlord. You can keep it or leave. I don't care." "And the wedding?" I didn't even pause. "Cancel it, postpone it, whatever you want. Just leave me out of it." I grabbed my overnight bag. "Wait," he said. "Can you at least stay tonight?" I shook my head. "You wanted space," I said. "This is space." And I walked out. Monday morning arrived without ceremony. No dramatic confrontation, no final words. Just the sound of a moving truck idling outside the apartment at 8:57 a.m. Evan wasn't there. He'd left early, his side of the closet half empty, his toothbrush gone, the bed made too neatly, like someone trying to erase evidence they'd ever slept there. The movers were efficient, professional, detached. They wrapped my furniture in plastic, labeled boxes with a marker like they were inventory instead of fragments of a life. Bedroom, office, kitchen. 14 boxes. Exactly as I'd counted. I stood in the doorway while they loaded the last one into the truck, watching the apartment hollow out. Bare walls where pictures had been. An empty closet that suddenly looked too small to have ever held 2 people. I left my keys on the kitchen counter. Didn't lock the door behind me. That felt intentional. At my sister's place, we stacked boxes in her garage. She made coffee, didn't ask questions, just let the silence do its work. Around noon, my phone started buzzing. Once, twice, again. I didn't answer. The voicemail transcripts came through instead. "What did you do to our accounts?" "I can't access anything." "Natalie, this isn't funny. Call me back." I waited an hour before texting. "My lawyer advised protecting joint assets during a separation. If you want to discuss splitting them, have your lawyer contact mine." The phone rang immediately. I answered this time. You froze everything? Evan demanded. No greeting, no apology. Our lawyer did, I corrected. Standard procedure. You didn't even tell me. You didn't tell me you were announcing a separation in front of your entire family, I said evenly. Guess we're both learning how unilateral decisions feel. This is different. No, I said, it's not. I need access to that money. Then work with the lawyers. I can't just live off my paycheck. I paused. Then said the sentence that finally landed. Then maybe ask Lena for help. She seems very ambitious. Silence. Long, heavy, exposed. That's not fair, he said quietly. No, I agreed, but it's accurate. He hung up. 10 minutes later, he called again. Calmer this time, like someone realizing anger wasn't working. Can we talk about this like adults? I thought we were. You're punishing me. I'm protecting myself, I said. You wanted space. You don't get access to joint money while you figure out whether you want a different life. This isn't what I meant. It's what you chose. Another hang-up. He didn't call back that day. Wednesday evening, his father called. I stared at the screen for a long moment before answering. We need to talk, he said. I don't think we do. My daughter is confused and upset. She announced a separation in front of 50 people, I replied. I moved out and protected myself financially. What part is confusing? There's more to it than that. Is there? I asked. From where I'm standing, she humiliated me publicly. I responded privately. That's it. There was a pause. Can you come by the house? He asked, just to talk. Against my better judgment, I agreed. 7 p.m. The living room felt smaller than it had on New Year's Eve. The same couch, the same coffee table, the same spot where Evan had stood when he blew up our future. His mother looked like she'd been crying for days. We still consider you family, she said immediately. I stayed standing. Why am I here? I asked. They exchanged a look. Finally, his father spoke. She told us she's been having doubts for months, he said. That she loves you, but isn't sure she's in love anymore. And, I said, she met someone who made her question things. Lena, I replied. His mother flinched. She says nothing physical happened, his father added quickly. Just emotional. I laughed once. Sharp. Unintended. That's supposed to make it better? She panicked, his mother said. She's young. She's 31, I said. That's old enough to know you don't humiliate your fiancé in front of your entire family. His father nodded slowly. You're right. What she did was wrong. Then why am I here? They didn't answer immediately. Finally, his mother said it. She wants to fix this. I shook my head. There's nothing to fix. What if she wants to undo it? His father asked. Then she should have thought about that before she did it, I said. You don't get to blow up someone's life and act surprised when they don't help you clean up the mess. His mother started crying. Please, she said. Just talk to her. Why? I asked. So she can tell me she made a mistake? So she can promise she's sorry? Yes. No, I said. Why not? Because even if I believed her, I said, voice steady, I'd never trust her again. Every late night, every gym session, every quiet moment, I'd wonder. That's not a marriage. That's a prison. Silence. I thanked them for the coffee I hadn't touched and left. I drove back to my sister's house feeling hollow. Not angry. Just empty. Like the last thread holding me there had finally snapped. Friday morning, the doorbell rang at exactly 8:02 a.m. I knew it was him before my sister even checked the door. She's here, she said quietly. Do you want me to send her away? I stared into my coffee, the steam curling up like it was trying to escape. Yes, I said automatically. Then I exhaled. No, 5 minutes. I walked to the door. Evan stood on the porch, looking smaller than I remembered. Dark circles under his eyes, hair unstyled, wearing sweatpants and my old college hoodie, the one I'd thought I lost years ago. It felt intentional, or desperate, or both. Can we talk? He asked. You have 5 minutes, I said. You're not coming inside. He nodded like he'd already expected that. I made a mistake, he said immediately. A huge one. I didn't respond. I panicked, he continued. I thought I wanted something different. I thought I needed more, and I was wrong. I waited. I miss you, he said. I miss us. Okay, I said calmly. That threw him off. That's it? He asked. You're not going to say anything? What do you want me to say? I asked. That I forgive you? That we can rewind time? That we can pretend you didn't stand in front of your entire family and announce you wanted out of our relationship? I'm not asking you to forget it, he said quickly. I'm asking you to forgive it. I shook my head. I can't. Why not? Because forgiveness requires trust, I said, and you broke mine in a way I can't repair. He rubbed his face, breathing fast now. I love you, he said. I know I messed up, but I love you. I looked at him for a long moment. No, I said quietly. You love the idea of security. You love knowing someone is there while you figure yourself out. But you don't love me. That's not true. If you loved me, I said, you wouldn't have been able to humiliate me the way you did. Love doesn't do that. He started crying then. Not quietly, not gracefully, the kind of crying that comes when consequences finally land. What about the wedding? He asked through it. What about everything we planned? Cancel it, I said. Get whatever refunds you can. I don't want to move on. I met his eyes. Then you shouldn't have ended us the way you did. His hands shook as he reached into his coat pocket. He pulled out the ring, my grandmother's ring, the one he'd slipped onto my finger 9 months earlier while promising me forever. I want you to have this back, he said. I took it from him. It felt heavier than it had before, like it was carrying the weight of every version of the future that would never exist. Thank you, I said. That's it? He whispered. That's it. He stood there for another moment, waiting, hoping for me to change my mind. I didn't. Finally, he turned and walked down the steps, got into his car, and drove away. I watched until he disappeared down the street. Then I went back inside. My sister didn't say anything. She didn't have to. I sat at the kitchen table and looked at the ring in my hand. 3 generations had worn it with certainty. Now it was just a reminder of the moment I stopped being someone's backup plan. I placed it in a small box and locked it away. 3 months passed. Not dramatically, not cleanly, just quietly. The wedding was officially canceled in February. We lost about $15,000 in deposits. I offered to cover my half, but Evan's parents insisted on paying theirs. His mother sent me a card, handwritten, careful, apologetic. She said they missed me, said they'd always considered me family. I didn't respond. Not out of anger, out of closure. There was nothing left to explain. Evan tried to reach out twice, once through his sister, once through a mutual friend. Both times the message was the same. He just wants to talk. Both times my answer didn't change. No. A friend mentioned, casually, that Evan and Lena dated for about a month after everything fell apart. It didn't surprise me. What surprised me was how quickly it ended. Turns out Lena liked the chase, the attention, the thrill of being the alternative. Once Evan was actually available, once there was no secret, no tension, she lost interest. He'd told friends he was devastated, regretful, that he'd destroyed the best thing in his life chasing an idea of something better. I felt bad for him, a small part of me. The rest of me remembered standing in that living room on New Year's Eve while he announced our separation like it was a gift to himself. Remembered packing 3 years of my life into 14 boxes. Remembered sleeping on my sister's couch because I suddenly didn't have a home. I moved into my own apartment last month. 1 bedroom, quiet, mine. No shared accounts, no joint lease. No wondering if the person beside me is secretly planning an exit. I'm not dating. Not yet. I like the stillness too much. The ring is still in its box. I thought about giving it to my sister, or saving it for a niece someday. All I know is, it won't go to someone who treats love like a contingency plan. That quiet phone call I made on New Year's Eve didn't just protect me financially. It changed how I see myself. It was the moment I stopped proving my worth to someone who'd already decided to look elsewhere. Weeks later, Evan reached into his coat and pulled out a ring he no longer had the right to offer back. The look on his face told him something had changed. And it wasn't the ring. It was me. I finally learned the worst thing you can do is let someone treat you like an option while you treat them like a priority.